I am so excited. So excited. The news that Scott Linehan is finally out in Dallas as the offensive coordinator is just music to my ears. Now, if you followed me before, if you've heard anything that I've done, whether it was the Voice Junkie podcast, whether it's Chuck's Corner, some of the videos that I put out, trust me, I've dropped some pretty unkind words for Scott Linehan in some of my videos or past works in the past. So this news is great because it had to be done. As delusional as Jerry Jones has become over the years, this was something that even he couldn't avoid. I don't know what was happening. I would love to have been a fly on the wall during those conversations with management like Stephen Jones and his other son and conversating over this decision. But this is something that couldn't be ignored. This was like the big, 3,000-pound gorilla or elephant in the room. Like, Scott Linehan is really bad at play calling. He doesn't have he lacks imagination. He has a JV. I always said that Scott Linehan has a JV varsity play calling ability. Like, it's so predictable. It's just unimaginative. His job was lost a long time ago, in my opinion, but I think Jerry finally got to the point and woke up out of his, delusion when Scott Linehan lined up Zeke Elliott 4th and 1 in that critical play when the Cowboys were driving. You line Zeke Elliott up, you line up the line that's really hurt against the best defensive tackles in the league, and you just line up an I form and run Zeke up the middle, which is the weakest part of the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. That right there was telling. That right there was Scott Linehan's departure. It's just a terrible play call, but we've already gone through that. But now the question is, who is Jerry going to replace him with? I don't have an idea. There's reports that they requested to speak to somebody that was already in the playoffs. I'm not sure if that person is still in the playoffs, because if you think about it, the 4 teams that's left, you got the Saints, you got the Kansas City Chiefs, you got New England, and you have the Rams. Now, to my knowledge, all of the head coaches, aside from the Patriots, because Josh McDaniels calls those play calls, all of those play callers, or the offensive play calling, is coming through the head coaches. McVay calls a lot of the offensive plays. We all know Sean Payton calls most of the plays in New Orleans, and we all know Andy Reid calls all the plays in Kansas City. So my theory is the person that was in the report that they asked for permission to talk to is no longer in the playoff run. So that is somewhat encouraging, because at least it's someone that, is a little respectable, that has a little bit of imagination that Scott Linehan clearly didn't have for 4 years. Took 4 years to fire this guy. He was awful at his job. Who cares if he's the buddy of Jason Garrett? He had to go. But anyway, great news for Dallas. Hopefully a good replacement for Linehan comes in, who can better use Dak and do what Dak, use Dak. Dak is 6'2", 240 pounds. There's no reason in the world he should have ran, that he ran only twice in that Rams game. There's no reason. So hopefully the new coordinator come in and actually know how to use Dak at his fullest capacity. And we can move forward. This team is the youngest team in the league, and it is primed to make a big run in the playoffs in the near future. So hopefully Jerry gets a replacement. Hopefully this replacement's good enough to where even he can maybe potentially replace Jason Garrett's ass. God forbid. But anyway, glad to the news. Just had to give my opinion about that. Let me know what y'all think about the replacement of offensive coordinator Scott Linehan. Who do you think Jerry should replace him with? Speak to me in the comments below, all right? Peace.